Hi, this is Stan. Welcome back to the Crow's Nest Railroad. Last time we got started on a really fun 7-plank open wagon project. Couldn't finish it all, so let's pick up the action right now where we left off. Well, it kind of looks like we're at the beginning, but actually we're not. I had everything roughly assembled together, dry, and I tore everything apart and sanded it up. It's a lot easier to sand these pieces when they're separate than trying to get in with a palm sander when everything's put together. So checked everything and did a little bit of sanding all over. So now what I have to do is apply some glue and screw this carcass back together again. So it probably goes without saying, pretty obvious, that I'm not a machinist or really a metal worker. That's why this project is mostly wood, mostly Baltic birch plywood. Seems to be my favorite lately because it is of pretty good quality. So here are our two end caps, and you can see the dado in here, and then our faux striping for planks. I guess this would be properly called a wagon, and I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 board wagon or 6 or 7 plank wagon. Anyway, it's for me to ride on as an engineer's car or engineer's wagon. Here in the US, it's a flat car, a box car, a tank car, but in the UK they call them wagons and carriages, and kind of some cool names. Anyway, so these are our two end caps. This is the base. These are 1/2 inch. This is 1 inch. The two sides are here. They've got the dado cut out and the fake planking on there. These are the footboards and some odds and ends support pieces, and then this is the seat that I made up. Okay, so I'll get busy and get these glued up. Okay, Humpty Dumpty's put back together. I've got everything glued and screwed back together except the footboards. I need to take those off again, so they're just screwed in for right now, but everything else is glued tight, and including the seat over here. So let's let this set up and dry, and we'll be right back through the magic of video editing. All right, another day, another coffee. The glue set up overnight. I took the running boards back off. I'm not going to glue those in ultimately. I'm going to just screw and bolt them in because, I don't know, they're going to get a fair amount of abuse with feet on them all the time, and I have this feeling that the plywood may not work out to be the best in the long run. It may be better for me to use a hardwood like a poplar strip in there, because so many screws are going into the end grain of plywood. It doesn't like that. The actual layers of wood are pretty thin and they split quite easily. So anyway, I've taken them off because I'm going to spray paint them black, and I'm going to just spray this black here. I'll show a picture of a 7-plank open wagon. It was often used for coal wagon. And so I think I'm going to go with gray on the plankings and black on the running boards just to make them disappear a little bit. And so I've got everything set up over there to do some spray painting. So I will get busy and see you in a minute. Here you can see I've started doing some of the painting. Just doing black here down on the little ears that will support the footrest. So here are the footboards with a couple of coats of black on there. This actually will be covered up, but I'll explain that after a while. And here is the seat. I decided to leave the top natural. Just put a little clear finish on it. And here, this is drying. I've got some clear finish. I'm going to go ahead and leave natural wood finish on the inside. Once this is dry, the next step will be adding some detail to the sides. This will be sort of an imitation of a 7-plank open wagon, and I think I'm going to go with a kind of a battleship gray color for the sides, which seems to be a pretty common color, and I'm going to add a few details. Next, we need to cut some aluminum. I want to put a little bit of shielding here. I want to do some corner angle here, and I want to do a little protective bar here. So I could cut things by hand, done that a million times, but let's try something different this time. I've got carbide teeth on my blade on the chop saw, so there's no reason I shouldn't be able to cut this soft aluminum. So let's give it a go. All right, so we've got our side protection. Probably someone's foot will be riding up here, so we're going to cap that, and then this is our corner piece. So let's take these over to the sander and clean up these edges. Alright, I've got these small pieces of aluminum cut and drilled out for little screws to hold them on, and that will protect all of the edges from abuse, hopefully. I'm probably not going to paint these. I know in the real version of these open wagons, a lot of times they are painted a dark color like a black, contrasting the body, but you know, aluminum doesn't like paint very well, and you can sort of force it, but after a while it just chips off, and you have to keep retouching it all the time. So I'm not going to paint these. I'm going to leave them just the raw aluminum. Well, let's get busy and add some fake details to the front and the sides. All right, all the little beams and supports and things like that to kind of dress it up, they've been glued on, and next I have to put some little bolts. Well, here's a few pictures I downloaded just to give me some ideas, and you can see on these plank wagons there are some vertical and diagonal supports for the planks, so we're going to imitate those, and got those attached to the carcass. And so the next thing is I made up just a little story stick here with some measurements on it, and I'm going to go through and drill some holes and take a bunch of these little brads, cut them off, and put these in here as if they were bolting these boards on and supporting the planks. So get busy on that. Alright, a little hand sanding and just enough detail here to make it interesting, but not a whole lot of snappy, breaky off parts that are going to end up on the ground when someone's foot gets against it. Well, we're just at about the stage here. I got just a little more cleanup, and I want to make sure there's no slivers or any little rough patches, but I think we're ready to put our final color on. So let's have at it. Well, that's starting to look good now. Let's let that first coat dry, and then I'll give it a second coat. Something else I need to get done here while the paint is drying on that body is I have some of this abrasive protective material, and I am going to lay that on the footboards so we can, it's just a sticky back. So let's get that done now. The normal way of building a riding car like this would be to have a steel frame underneath. I experimented with wood and aluminum channel on the last car that I did because I've had a 7.5-inch gauge riding car that had a aluminum box tubing, and that seemed to be plenty strong enough. So on this build I'm going all wood, no big metal structure on the bottom. This seems pretty bulletproof. I'm hoping it will hold up just fine. These footboards are screwed in this way, but I'm adding these long threaded bolts to give some extra squeeze, and these cross braces should add support as well. There it is, all the hardware is put on it, everything's ready to go. Here's the seat for it. So all that's left now is let's take it outside and see how it looks on the track. Well, I think this turned out great. It was a fun project. Here it is sitting out in the back for a few days, so it's got leaves and dirt and stuff on it already. These trucks are remarkably stable. I'm really surprised at when you sit on it, there's not any rocking back and forth, so I'm kind of really liking these MaxiTrack trucks. That'll do it. Thanks for watching. It really means a lot. This is Stan saying thank you for joining me for another edition of the Crow's Nest Railroad. I'll see you next time.